Stand by bold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Track sound. Here's bold. 54.
Breaking now on Sunrise, huge flames overnight after lightning hit a Minnetonka home.
Okay.
Audrey Russo is at the live desk with brand
The
new
boat's back on
information.
Del 4
Then
now.
at 6:30, dangerous wildfires raging in northern Minnesota. Governor Walz declaring a peacetime emergency.
They're both coded in case you need to float one or the other, so if you need to just do that,
evening and overnight. We
as
will
long as it's
track
not
the
right before,
severe
it should be
weather
fine.
threat, including a much cooler but
30.
drier midweek in the forecast.
The House stands adjourned.
And the legislative session officially ended overnight. Danny Spiewak is at the Capitol with what passed in the final hours and what got missed.
Then a trial date could be set for the man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian
10 to
Thompson.
camera 2.
The ruling expected today that could have a major impact on Luigi Mangione's state
5,
murder trial.
4,
Sunrise at 6
3,
starts now.
2. There's camera 2.
Rise and shine, everyone, and thank you for joining us on air and streaming on the KARE 11 app here on this Monday morning. I'm Jason Hackett alongside Alicia Lewis. A lot of you may have been woken up by those
5
storms
into the
last
yard
night.
next.
Put on quite the lightning show, and the rain was coming down hard at some
I know
points.
we need the rain though, so let's get out to Ben for a look at the forecast. Good
5.
morning.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, we did have
Anchor
some
mix
beneficial
down.
rain last night. MSP picking up over an inch, but we need more, especially areas in central and northern Minnesota. And we're not going to see a ton of additional rainfall there. However, there is a renewed chance for some severe weather across southeastern Minnesota
graphics.
later this evening and overnight. Let's get a live
Graphics.
look at radar right now. Isolated stuff from Duluth up the North Shore, but otherwise,
Traffic
most of the
next,
daylight
CC at
hours
the
today
Bam, white
are going to
2
stay
shot,
mainly
we'll do
dry.
Audrey's
Here's
hit
how much rain
tech.
we've seen over the last 24 hours. You can see over an inch in the Twin Cities. Radar showing that bright spot near the Fairmont area where the automated report certainly not showing any rainfall, but some areas picking up over 2 inches, areas south of Mankato. The next 12 hours looks like this, mainly cloudy, temperatures rising into the upper 60s by this afternoon, and you can see that rain chance starts to pick up near and after sundown with our next chance for some showers and storms. That'll take us into the overnight hours. The severe threat shifting southeast. So it's southeastern Minnesota, central and southern Wisconsin. The best chance of maybe seeing some wind damage later this evening. And yes, we'll talk more about a chilly forecast.
traffic?
It'll drop us into the 50s for highs possibly the next couple of days. Details on that just ahead. But first, let's get a look at your Monday traffic with Cece. Good morning.
Hey, happy
Ben's
Monday,
next down,
6:02.
and
When I
Ben's
started
3.
tracking roads at 4:30, I
2
noticed
next,
a lot
went
of
to
roads
Audrey on
were
4.
damp. Now at 6:02, we're seeing that a lot of the roads have dried out, which is the good news as you head out to work this morning. If you drive between Minneapolis and St. Paul on 94, I'm sure you ran into the closures happening between Minneapolis and St. Paul this weekend. Good news, that has cleared
Is
up
CC's
as of
light
this
over
morning
at
at
the
5
Bam?
a.m., so you no longer need to detour on Highway 36. Taking a look here at the bigger map,
yeah,
I haven't
little
seen
dark.
a crash this morning, which has been decent for a Monday morning, but I have been talking a lot about construction. So the next project I'm going to dig into is the one happening tonight on 494.
Gotcha.
I'll tell you the detours you'll
Pretty
need to
camera
take if you'll be out.
Cece, thank you. We'll check back in a little bit. Well, as
Here's
Ben
2.
mentioned, our severe weather threat is now over.
But it didn't leave the metro
Audrey on
unscathed.
4.
Audrey Russo's at the live desk with a fire that devastated one family's home.
Here's Audrey.
Yeah, the dry weather mixed with lightning strikes, really a
video and a
recipe
shot.
for pretty much the entire state. Take a look at this video, though, out of Minnetonka overnight. Crews believe that lightning may have been the cause. Now, taking a look at the outage map across Minnesota,
There's
things
Vio.
really have improved throughout the overnight hours, with outages
next,
now
back out to
affecting
4, then we should
under
have a half
2,000
screen on
customers.
3.
And the cooling temperatures coming this week should bring down the risk of fires, which is good for preventing situations much like this one. Now, we spoke to the chief from Minnetonka who describes what the
Pretty
homeowners
sound.
heard moments before their attic went up in flames.
Sound 12.
Homeowners called in, they heard a loud boom, and then called 911 and then smelled the smoke and so on and so forth. And
5,
then with the
4,
storms rolling through the
3,
area,
2,
at this point, this is what
1.
that looks like.
Here's Audrey.
Unfortunately, everybody made it out safely.
Half
Up
screens
north,
in
different
preview for you.
situation. They're not expected to get a lot of rain, which makes problems like the Flanders fire and the Stewart Trail fire a lot more of a hazard.
Pretty half
All of
screen.
updates on both of those situations coming up in about 30 minutes. Back to you.
I hate to see that. All right, Audrey, thanks so much. And our weather team is keeping
Just
an
half
eye
screen
on the
on 3.
rain. And you
Dusty's
can get the
pick
latest
on,
on our free
Del 2
streaming
next.
app at any time. Just scan the
Then out to
QR
1
code you
on
see right
Jason.
now on your TV. We'll also have the most up-to-date information posted at KARE11.com.
White.
Taking a live
Darcy's
look
hot.
at the state capitol. The 2026 legislative session is in the books. Lawmakers work down to the wire, passing several bills before
one.
the 11:59 deadline. Our Danny Spiewak
one.
was there all night. He's breaking down
sound.
what's heading to the governor's desk.
Sound.
State lawmakers
128.
have met their deadline to pass bills in the
Back out to
2026
one for a
legislative
tag and
session.
went
They
to
had to
VO
do it
next.
by 11:59 p.m. Sunday night, and a lot of the big items did get done, though it did take until the final hours. That includes stabilization funding for Hennepin County Medical Center. Of course, that had been a huge issue at the end of the session, with county officials warning that the hospital could close without state intervention by as early as this summer. Well, they're going to get more than $200 million in immediate assistance, and then we'll be able to tap into $500 million in reserve funding
do we know if
through
we're doing live
2031.
pick or VO
The other
for
big
the
item that
vote?
got done in the
Yeah.
final hours was the bonding
VO.
bill,
Got it.
$1.2 billion for infrastructure projects across the state. So that's a big win for the divided legislature, which again is the most narrowly divided legislature in the country, with a tied House and the Senate being controlled by Democrats by one vote. They also got some other stuff done in the final hours, such as the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit funding for the
30
Attorney
bucks in
General's
package after
office. That
one.
was something that had been pushed for throughout the session, but there was a lot that didn't get done. The Democratic priorities around guns and immigrations and customs enforcement, for example, there were no bipartisan solutions found on that. The gun restrictions and assault weapons ban that the Senate passed with Democratic control did not come up for a floor vote in the House,
10.
controlled by Republicans. And at the very last minute, in the last night of session last night, the Democrats tried to push an
4,
urgency around
3,
the ICE bill,
2,
but that also failed.
One. It's camera one.
Now, Danny will be back at the Capitol
VO
today
next
to
in
follow
3.
up on what these changes mean for you. Some other things that passed: lowering car tab fees, social media protections, and property tax relief.
Wait, there's
In
VO.
less than 2 hours from now, Luigi Mangione will be back in court
Three
for a
next
key
to the
hearing in
VO.
his state trial. The 28-year-old is accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York City back in
Ready,
2024.
three.
The judge is expected to rule on what evidence lawyers can present in the trial, including the items found in his backpack when he was arrested. Mangione's team argues it was illegal for police to search his backpack without a warrant. The judge
Ready,
could
VO.
also set a trial date today.
There's VO.
Right now, the cruise ship at the center of the
Gonna go
deadly
back out to 3, then
hantavirus
the bow
outbreak
squeeze
is
next.
now in the
Salvo
Netherlands.
after.
This is new video of the MV Hondius docking there in just the
829
last
is
few
the,
hours. The crew and medical staff were the
gas
only ones
prices
left
now, right?
on the boat as it arrived this morning. None of them are showing symptoms, but they will go into
Ready, 3.
quarantine. And meanwhile, the ship will be cleaned and disinfected.
Also
There's
new
3.
this morning, the CDC says at least 6 Americans were exposed to Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The World Health Organization is now calling the outbreak a
832
global
boxes
health
died.
emergency.
Pretty bow squeeze,
The agency
bow
is
squeeze.
working to withdraw the group and
Salvo
bring them
next.
to a quarantine location. At least 88 people have died, with more than 300 suspected cases. Officials say this rare strain of the virus does not have any approved vaccines or
sound.
treatments, raising some concerns about transmission.
Sound.
We are in a
17.
difficult situation, absolutely, but so care for the patients is really absolutely the priority now. Isolation and also making sure that
5,
those who care
4,
for people are
3,
protected and don't
2,
get contaminated.
1. Mike's.
The U.S. is also sending
Graphics 8
resources
next
to
until
help
9,
with
then
contact
another
tracing,
Salvo.
surveillance, and lab testing.
There's graphics.
Right now, slight relief at the gas pump, and I mean very slight. AAA reporting in just the last few hours, gas prices in Minnesota are sitting at an average of $4.40 a gallon. That's just 1 cent down from yesterday, but still 73 cents higher than a month ago. All of this comes as millions of Americans
Free
get ready
sound.
to travel for Memorial Day weekend.
Track
We
sound.
could see people pulling
12,
back on Memorial Day travel
TVO
this year
next and white
in
sky cam.
anticipation of seeing higher prices throughout the summer and wanting to take
5,
that one
4,
big trip this
3,
year versus a
2,
lot of little trips.
1.
Now, airfare is also
Mike's
more expensive right
second
now,
next.
averaging around $459 for domestic flights and over $1,200 for international. Going.com
Boxes are
reporting
dead,
a
we'll wipe
21%
straight to
drop
the yard from
in
the
people
check-in.
searching for flights. Memorial Day weekend travel begins on Thursday.
My gas light's on. I'm just gonna sputter around town until
Yeah, that's
cutting it close.
not a good strategy. We'll see if it works out for you.
Check in.
6:09. Happy Monday morning to you. You might be waking up, and if you got a rain gauge, take a look at it because we got some overnight showers. It was a little active last
Pretty
night on the
Ben.
radar. So let's get out to Ben in the backyard.
Wait,
with
there's Ben.
more. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, similar
Mike's
to
down.
what we saw yesterday, most of today's rain threat is actually going to hold off until this evening and overnight. It's actually mostly dry as you head out outside this morning, but thanks to
Here's
yesterday's rainfall, you probably
His
are going to
graphics
see
are
some
up.
wet spots on
He'll
the
have his
roadway.
weather while
But
the
rain
VOTs
actively
out
falling
to
is
break.
pretty sparse. You got to head up to
Alicia.
northeastern Minnesota, where we do have the Stewart Trailhead fire, which is still burning near Two Harbors. A little bit of rainfall activity up there, but otherwise things are mainly dry and should stay that way through most of the daylight hours. It's not until near and after sundown that brings our renewed chance for some thunderstorms. And the emphasis for this round is southeastern Minnesota. So this is through 4 o'clock. Notice mainly dry conditions. Lighter showers start to develop across western Minnesota. Let's take you to 9 p.m. tonight. Notice south of the Twin Cities down I-35 from Owatonna towards Albert Lee. That's where the storms initiate. They push across southeastern Minnesota, pushing into southwestern Wisconsin by about 10 o'clock. This is probably our chance at seeing some thunderstorms. So right as you're going to bed tonight, might be hearing some of those rumbles just like we heard last night. Beneficial rain over central and northern Minnesota, not the severe variety of rain that continues across the northeastern part of the state early Tuesday morning. Slight chance for showers early tomorrow about this time, but for the most part,
Jake, are
we
you
dry
currently
out
doing anything with
and
camera
cool
four?
off. We're going to see temperatures in the upper 50s for highs tomorrow. And that could linger into Wednesday as well. So seasonably cool weather is in the forecast. Here's how much additional rain's expected between now and tomorrow morning. Notice broad brush, many of us, 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain. Under some of those heavier thunderstorms in the southeastern corner of the state, could see up to 1 inch of rainfall, maybe some locally higher amounts. But that's going to be about it for rain chances until the end of the week. Friday into Saturday, that comes with our next chance for showers and storms. Today, cooler. An evening thunderstorm is looking more likely. 68 for our forecast high today. Temperatures region-wide. Look at this. 70s in the southeastern part of the state, 40s in the northwestern corner. So a bit of disparity there. Here's the cooler air working its way in for your Tuesday. It's not only going to be in the 50s, but it's also going to be a bit breezy. So kind of a raw day tomorrow with gradual clearing later in the day. We will see more sunshine heading into Wednesday and Thursday. We warm back up to more seasonal values by Friday, and that warming trend should continue through the upcoming holiday weekend with 80s returning by Sunday. Guys?
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you, Ben. Well, right now, wildfires are still burning in northern Minnesota, leaving many families out of their homes. After the break, how a local cafe is stepping up to help those impacted. We'll be right back.
3, 2, 1, phase break.